I'm on the pipeline trail. There's a few other people, but it's mostly empty. I remember pipeline walks being a lot different when I was a field engineer. But I actually don't know where the pipeline is, if it's like underneath where I'm walking. No, it's kind of rocky. Some of it did look like it was a mound built up to protect a pipeline, but I'm actually not really sure of the history, and so it's hard to know what to look out for. But it's really quite beautiful. Oh yeah, here's, okay. There's something there that's a fitting for. Yeah, it looks like it's coming up and out of the ground, and then it's got a cap that you would need some sort of like crane or something to grab on to lift it. Yeah, it's gorgeous. It's empty. This is the Capilano River. You can almost see like the salmon jumping upstream and the black bear is grabbing it. All of the granite. There's also a lot of till deposits, which is, I guess, sediment left by glaciers when they were retreating. This whole canyon was carved out by glaciers, and then the water, the river came through and did the rest of the erosion. Oh, here we go. There's the pipeline. I don't know if you can see it. It's underneath the bridge. We can get a closer look to it. Yeah, it's amazing where we put infrastructure works out in the middle of nowhere. This says peerless something, empathetic pride of Burgundy, mini. I can't read it. Oh, it's beautiful. So peaceful. You can see a collar right there. That's what that is sticking out. I'm not quite sure if that right there, is a rock anchor. With all of that, you know, is cast concrete, cast in place. Yeah, I'll have to look up what this is for, but it's quite beautiful. Just lots of these big old Douglas fir trees, cedar, red cedar trees. I don't know what these are. That one is quite different. That one's not an evergreen green, where the rest of them are. So when they fall, they just become nurse logs for lots of the vegetation to grow up off of. And the cycle starts again. There's a guy fishing down there on the rock that's jutting out. I like to be able to see some people when I'm in nature. I don't know why. I think most people get to nature to get away from other people. But I think it's fun to watch how they interact with the surroundings. On the cliff walk at the Capilano Suspension Bridge. You can see the bridge is over there. It sways a lot. Apparently in its early days, they thought it sounded like laughing, so it has a nickname, the Laughing Bridge, because of the wind whistling through it. And you can see it says "Go Canucks, Go Canucks." The Canucks and the Oilers are a big hockey rivalry that's happening right now. But yeah, you can see the trees are massive. Douglas firs can get up to be 2,000 years old. None of these are nearly that old. And you can also see a lot of the rocks and how they erode from when water gets into them, and then it freezes and cracks, and then those parts of the rocks will get, so they call that ice cracking. Yeah, it's very beautiful, very serene sounding. There's actually quite a lot of people here, but I guess not on the cliff wall. Behind me is a huge tree. Oh, you almost can't see it. Back there, it's 61 meters tall. It's a Douglas fir. Didn't say how old it is. I was just thinking there's something fun about knowing that at the end of the line there's going to be a dam, or there's something to see. Helps that it's a dam. But yeah, it gives it like a little purpose of where you're walking. But there has been a few people passing by, dogs off leash. And yeah, it's just a gorgeous rainforest view. Like, look at this guy. And it's very well maintained. Would not have been able to bike it, even though bikes aren't allowed. Yeah, and you can kind of see where the pipeline is, because there's it's kind of built up in a narrow pathway. And at one point I saw a PVC pipe going into the ground, which might have been a monitoring well. But you would need to, be able to monitor and prove that you're not contaminating this underneath. So it must not be water if they're monitoring it. Or maybe that's not a well. I don't know. Yeah. This is cute. Ooh, it's really sunny here. Yeah, this looks like a cedar. That one looks like a cedar, which they said are waterproof and have a lot of oils in them, and they're really tight, wood fibers, so bugs and things can't really get into it, but it makes them very susceptible to wood fires and like forest fires and things like that. Whereas the Douglas firs are less susceptible, but they're not waterproof. Okay. This is a map of the dam for some upgrades that should be done. This is very engineering-like, to have your GIS person write what's existing next to things that are already there, so that you can tell the difference between what's part of the construction project and what's already there. But it sounds like this is just upgrades to the valves, so everything is going to be existing in this case. But I guess here, so we're like over here right now. I've not seen the parking lot. It might be over there, actually. The dam is here, which we'll see when we get up there. Some elevator buildings, I guess, to go up and down for maintenance workers. Storage areas for construction. That's your construction laydown area. So we probably won't still see that. This is such an engineering drawing that they just left on this view. Pump house, pump station, existing Capilano pump station, pump house. I don't know what the difference is. We tend to use those words interchangeably, just depending on what historically they have called it at that location. So yeah, it's basically where the pumps live to be able to move water. It said that this is 1/3 of Vancouver's water supply comes from this reservoir. But I don't know if there's hydropower here. Sometimes you would have like a turbine house, which they might also call a pump house, but I don't think there's hydropower here, or they probably would have said that when they're saying what the reservoir was for. Look at this. You can see up there where they have the gondolas, and over here is the big, beautiful dam. Let's get a closer look on this guy. Oh wow, look. You can see where it's not very good view, but okay. So here's one of the pump houses probably. You can see there's a big gate that kind of would tip down. What do you call those? Does it have a bascule gate? That tip overflow. Well, if they called it an overflow gate, that would be if that were the purpose, is to overflow. Yeah, it's beautiful. I just love how on one side it's fresh, clean lake water with a lot of logs. Yeah, I don't know what these little areas here would be for. And then over on this side, this is the crest that we're on. It's just the top of the dam, and you'd call this the crest road. There's access to the dam. Well, you guys can see it better than I can down here. Look at all this rock. This is the type of dam that is in the middle of the waterway. You have some that are on the side, some that are off channel. This would be an in-channel dam. I think we'll get a better view over here. Gauge 17. Oh, this is a strain gauge. You can see how much shift there is in this joint over time. Just based on knowing where it was placed and where it is now. So that's the strain gauge. These are one of the instruments you would monitor on a dam, either with IoT or just manually going up and recording. Wow. This is so cool. So you've kind of got, let's see if I can show you this. You've got the spillway here. It's like an OG spillway or something that's very steep. You would get a little bit of a hydraulic jump right there if you had a major release. So that's why that kind of tilts up, is to let the energy dissipate out as it goes down. So here are the main gates. I don't know what type of gates these are. I think, or maybe this was the gate we were seeing from over there. Then they've got some sort of flow over there. That's probably where they're letting water go around the dam for an environmental flow to keep, like, the river healthy and, continuous flow. That's normally a requirement for dams, is to be able to, always be passing certain amounts of water. Now, I don't actually know why there's little places down there with water coming out. I'll have to look from the other side to see if I can figure that out. Yeah, I might be able to get you a better video from down there. But it's so cool. Isn't this really cool? Look at, gonna make you seasick, huh? Look at the mountains. People having a good time. Still some snow. Yeah, it's cool. Guys, our dam's not the coolest thing ever in the world. It's just, it's so cool. And then you get all this wildlife. I don't know if you saw that bird. It's so cool. Yeah. So here we go. There's one gate here, which is actually kind of crazy that there's just one gate in case, you know, they needed to take one gate down for maintenance. They wouldn't be able to operate the dam at all. So they'd only be able to do any sort of maintenance when they're absolutely sure that they didn't have to do a release. And for a watershed that's huge like this one, anytime it rains like half an inch, you just have a ton of water that floods into the system. So here's the dam. There's one gate. It's actually a little leaky. And there's a crow up there who's really loving his life. I actually still don't know what those little divots are for. Oh, you know what? So water's coming out of them. So it's possible that there's some sort of like drainage filter or like filter pack, drainage system, seepage system, some way to collect water that's in the footings that would seep into the foundation and drain it away. I don't know if that's what that is, but that's kind of typical on a design. And maybe they just routed it out here. You got your pump house over there. So there is a way to pump water around or back up. I don't know what it would be for. But yeah, it's gorgeous. There's these signs that say for dam safety concerns, which there's actually probably a whole lot more concerns that people could report if they knew what they were. There's obviously, like, you see seepage coming out of somewhere that doesn't look like it's supposed to. But if you also saw just like a little bit of boiling happening coming out of the sand, or out of, you know, the base of the river down there, that would be a huge dam safety concern. Those are called sand boils. Yeah. I wonder if those signs are effective. People reporting things. I was hearing a talk once about how there was a high school photographer he was doing a photography project, and he was out at this massive dam and had seen a problem. And the only reason they were able to act so fast and fix it is because he was there. Otherwise, normally nobody is out at these kind of remote sites. Yeah, so it is nice that if you've got like some tourists that they can be able to get things out. I don't know where that water's coming from, if it's cycled from around the dam or not. It's a huge canyon. Beautiful. There's the other. This looks like maybe it's storage. It's generators. Simple power, yeah, so generators. There's some sort of power. I love all the birds flying around. There's birds if you listen really closely. I figured out what both the pipeline is for and the pump stations. If they're bringing water from the dam, that's the pipeline. So it's drinking water. And they do some sort of filtration at the dam itself. I don't know why they don't just use the natural pressure of the elevation. But they've got some sort of pumps in there that they use to pump water through the filtration system. I saw they were doing some upgrades to it on one of the signs. So it's yeah, pipeline of water. Here's some sort of box to get into it. And it's clean drinking water for the city of Vancouver. So that mystery solved. I've seen a few monitoring wells of different ages. One of them was totally falling apart. So who knows how long those are there, been there for and what they were to monitor originally. I saw lots of different sensors, most of them manual, where you'd go up and have to read them and write them down and then compare them to your notes from last time. So no IoT or fancy real-time dam monitoring devices out there. But yeah, I think this is probably the pipeline I'm on right now. Service road, pipeline. And I've got to go because my phone is losing battery and I need it to get back.